we can put the cams in. And for that, we can use this. Boom, bloop. Put a little bit there, there, there. This is the heart of the engine. There's more power gained and lost from your cylinder head. If it's right, you'll make a lot of power, depending on your engine. But if it's wrong, we'll mess up some stuff. Mr. Cam, 3 intake. I'll tell you what, I gotta make sure it's TDC. That is the wrong one. That is the right one. That is, see if y'all can see it, 8mm. And it is stripped. Dab blasted. Tell y'all how to fix that. We're going to take our 8mm. We're going to put it right there. We're going to take and pop it with that. Now, I'm not trying to stick the socket inside of it. What I'm trying to do is free up the threads. The threads, over time, with the amount of pressure, will actually force itself back and lock into the thread castings here. So by hitting it this way, you kind of free them up. And it's just not getting enough bite. So what I would recommend doing at this point is trying a standard size that's a little bit bigger, which I'm going to get. Or, well, that's another 8mm. I'm going to see if I can get that one to wedge in there. It's actually a torque. It's a 55, T55 I believe. So we're going to put it to where it kind of wants to fit right there. Just re-tapped his side cover screw to fit a Torx. It's plastic. See? Came right off then. Huh. Actually did pretty good. I think I'm gonna need you later. I'm gonna take a little flashlight. don't know if y'all can see. Down inside this little hole, there's a T mark. Take our 17 millimeter for this, right there, and I'll just use this ratchet. And you want to hold the timing chain it's not that way, so we're going to see if we can go back the other way. There it is. Now, I'll move that out of the way. There's a little line in there. There's actually two lines that looks like an eye, and then right next to it is a line. This is a much smaller line. Well, it's the same as one of the ones on the end of the eye line, but that's going to be your timing mark, and it lines up with this little dip right here, right in the crevice of that. Alright, so I like to leave my wrench on there like that, your ratchet or whatever, so you can see if it moves. So you can't know if you see it, but it actually lines up perfect with this side cover bolt over here. One thing about LED lights, they're notorious for batteries making bad contact. There we go. Now, where are we at? Alright, this. The timing mark on the cam is this little dot right there. And I guess for sake of the camera, I'm going to actually put a little blue dot there so you can see it a little better. Now you want it to line up even with the head. This one, when you first put it in, is going to be up a little bit higher than the head, because when you apply the tension from the timing chain tensioner, it'll actually draw it down. So we're going to put the exhaust cam in. It's not going to be as stubborn this time. Lining up this timing mark needs to be even when you're pulling the tension upward right here. The tension needs to go that way, kind of flow with the way the tensioner is going to put pressure on it. I'm liking this already. to kind of play with this a little bit. Nope. Adjust it. Let's see where, there we go. That is it. Let me tighten these back down. Alright. After that's done, you verify your timing mark down here is in the right place. Perfect. You're going to get up here. We're going to get our little moon clips, set them in the groove on the cams. Make sure there's no debris or anything on them. Put that one there. Not like the sound of that. I guess that's just a metal on metal sound. Oh, I see what it is. The damn thing's not lined up right. There we go. We'll get close. We're going to put our assembly lube on it. Now, where's the, oh, okay, here it is. There's the oiler jacket on that one, and I believe it's right there on that one. Yep. Okay. If you'll notice, whenever these dual overhead cam engines are in top dead center and in time, the lobes are always facing outward. You want to, that's one way to make sure that sometimes these cams sprockets will spin on the shaft, and they're real bad on the Kawasaki engines and Suzuki. The timing mark will line up here, but the lobes will be in a total different direction. You'll have one that bent the valves or destroyed the head and think it might have jumped time, then put the motor back together, and you know, and at the end of the day, it wasn't that wasn't the problem. It ended up being the problem with the cam shifting. So just make sure you double check that. It's always good to put some kind of a mark. Let's see if we can't put one there. And there. Because that's where it'll spin. That's pressed on. Now, I'm going to look up something. There's a thing on the car models that you can do the cam mod, 13 gaps in between. Yeah, it's 13, and this one obviously is 14. See, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 between dot and dot. So The cam mod is to retard this one, which is make this line more horizontal like that one. This dot straight up. I know you do it on the car models, but I'm going to look it up. Right. They're saying not doing it on the R model. I never really thought to check. So, leave it as is. We're going to put the cam caps on. The moon clip fits in this groove right here. So we're going to slide that across the top until it locks in place. Then we're going to make sure the cam, there we go, and the cap are all lined up together. There's one. Good, I got that one right on the money. Alright. Now, this is one problem that everybody seems to screw up on these bikes. On the 5-valve, or hell, any of the overhead cam Yamahas. Same thing applies, but we're not going to use that grease. We're going to use this stuff. We're just going to put it around all mating surfaces of the aluminum, the metal. We're going to put some on the cam chain as well. There. Now, 8mm, which I don't need that just yet. I'm going to take and run them down with this. Do it horizontal or crisscross or whatever you want to call it. I don't know why the hell I said horizontal. Anyway, just don't do one of them, and we're not tightening it. You're just going to run it down. Do this one the same. All right. Yamaha realizes how bad this is a problem. They give you a whole page that only talks about the camshaft cap bolts. And the cylinder head. I'm going to go over here. Cam. Yes. This number 1 camshaft cap bolt, 10 of them, 7.2 foot-pounds. See tip. Now 7.2, the issue is a lot of people just tighten these down as tight as they can get them when they take it apart to do the shims, or on the car models, the cam mod. Don't need the angle. There. Well, 7 foot-pounds. Said 7.2. I don't feel like going into the inch-pounds and adjusting it. So we're going to go here. That's 5/8. Well, let me look at the tip. I'm going to be wrong on this. Here. They're saying all these. This is going to be 1. This is 1. This is 2. This is 2. 7 point. There. And this is 3. Four. And 4. Oh wait, that's 3. This is 4. Or hell, it's one or the other. 5 and 6. This is 6. This is 5. 5. Six. Over tighten them and your head's gone. Guarantee it. I'm sitting here looking at about 30 heads that have been destroyed for this very same problem. Alright. Next thing is release take this off. We don't need that no more. Matter of fact, we can put our plugs back in. That's one plug, O-ring. But it's trying to walk sideways on us. There. Damn it. Tell you what, I ought to do is heat this up and stick it in here perfectly so it'll actually form the hole a little bit better. It don't have to be tight at all. Just a little snug. There. We're going to take, we don't need this anymore. Put it back over there. We don't need this one or that one. It's 10 millimeter, we might need it. So now I'm going to release you bastard. It's not letting me turn it. I'm going to release this. I know that the cams will turn in the head. I've already put them. All right. I backed it off. Now it's got tension and it's trying to spin on its own. So what you do is you just let it free spin. All right, don't force it. Don't keep turning it, because the further you go, it won't back up. It won't back up automatically. If it does, you got a problem. So just let it kind of free spin in place. And we'll put 10 millimeter back on there. There. Now, one thing I want to do is turn it over. So I probably shouldn't have put, actually, take this. I guess Mr. Wrench got wet at one time. Now, so 17. He's got compression. It turned over fine. Putting it back in time. We'll put that butter back on there. I don't need it. Just like to make one revolution to make sure there's no interference of any kind. All right. I don't put the valve cover on because I like to check the compression, but I don't believe I'm going to do it on this one. I don't know, I might. This one I'm not melling off, I'm actually installing it here, so I'll do the compression in the bike with the starter and everything hooked up, so I don't really need to bench test it. But if you do, to get the right pressure or compression reading, you gotta hold this open. I've got a little tool. It's just a spring, or hell, you can use a zip tie to hold it open. Piece of tape, just anything. You don't want it to fall down in the motor, but something that you can wedge in between here to keep this disengaged while you check your compression. There's a little nipple on the crank or the cam. Let me grab a cam, I'll show you. Only got a couple hundred of these damn things. Alright, so this little nipple right here presses down on the valve when you're just going slow, like when you're starting the bike. Centrifugal force will kick this out once it cranks, or even when it fires up and busts off, it'll make this trip out, and it'll stay there with centrifugal force, dropping that down into the cam, keeping it out of the way. This is where you check your when you run your shim to check your valve clearance. This is where your shim would go, and as you can see, it's not much, just a few thousandths. So that's how the decompression release works. So if you're trying to bench test it, or even test it in the bike, in the frame, this is going to throw off your compression reading. We're doing a compression test. Alright, so we're going to put that there, that there. I'm going to take these, put them there. Like so. And that's a 5mm, so we'll just use a 5mm. Put that there.